France's grip on Africa is collapsing faster than anyone expected. Burkina Faso, under the leadership of President Ibrahim Traoré, has taken a bold step that threatens to dismantle France's economic dominance in West Africa. The country has officially rejected the CFA franc, a currency long used to control Francophone African nations, and is introducing its own gold-backed currency, the Sira. This move does not only secure Burkina Faso's financial independence, it also sends shockwaves through the French economy, which has heavily relied on the CFA system to sustain its influence. With this historic decision, Burkina Faso has seized control of its own financial destiny, cutting off France's access to its wealth. The implications of this are massive, not just for Burkina Faso, but for the entire region, as Mali and Niger are also moving in the same direction. Could this be the beginning of the end for France's stranglehold over West Africa? Before we dive into this groundbreaking shift, make sure to subscribe to the African Web for more in-depth analysis on Africa's fight for true independence. Don't forget to like, share, and hit the notification bell to stay updated. For decades, the CFA franc has been a tool of economic slavery. Originally introduced in 1945 by France, this currency is still used by 14 African countries, forcing them to remain financially dependent on their former colonizer. The most sinister aspect of the CFA system is that these nations are required to deposit 50% of their national reserves into the French treasury, allowing France to dictate their monetary policies and maintain control over their financial stability. This financial structure ensures that Francophone Africa cannot fully control its own wealth or economic growth. Every major financial decision, from interest rates to economic policies, is either directly influenced or completely dictated by France. The CFA franc is pegged to the euro, meaning that African nations using it have no autonomy in adjusting their currency to suit their economies, leaving them vulnerable to European economic shifts. The end result: economic stagnation, inflation, and the inability to invest in national development, all while France continues to profit off African resources and economic output. Burkina Faso, under Traoré's leadership, has finally had enough. The decision to ditch the CFA franc and introduce the Sira is a revolutionary act of defiance against this financial colonialism and an assertion of true sovereignty. Recognizing that true independence is impossible without monetary sovereignty, President Traoré's government has taken concrete steps to separate Burkina Faso from France's financial stranglehold. The first major move was the creation of the Treasury Deposit Bank, a national financial institution that ensures Burkina Faso no longer has to store its reserves in France and depend on its financial oversight. This shift marks a break from the Central Bank of West African States, BCEAO, which has long been controlled by France. With the Treasury Deposit Bank in place, Burkina Faso can now manage its own foreign reserves, issue its own currency, and decide its own monetary policies. This move ensures that economic decisions are made in Burkina Faso's best interests, rather than serving French economic goals. But Traoré's government is not stopping there. Unlike the CFA franc, which is backed by foreign control, the Sira will be backed by Burkina Faso's most valuable resource, gold. By backing its currency with gold, the government ensures that the Sira will not be subject to the same economic manipulation that France used to control the CFA franc, giving the nation a stable financial foundation. This move is not just symbolic, it is a direct economic attack on France's financial interests. The CFA system allowed France to exploit African economies with ease, keeping them perpetually underdeveloped. With the Sira, Burkina Faso has shattered that system and set a new precedent for self-reliance in West Africa. Gold has always been Africa's hidden treasure, yet for centuries it has been plundered by foreign powers. President Traoré understands that gold is the key to securing Burkina Faso's economic future. This is why the government has taken drastic measures to control and retain its gold production, ensuring it remains a national asset rather than a foreign commodity. The first major action was banning gold exports to ensure that all gold mined within Burkina Faso stays within the country and directly benefits its economy. Instead of allowing foreign companies to extract and export gold freely, the government has mandated that all gold must be refined domestically, increasing value addition within Burkina Faso itself. Additionally, a national gold reserve is being established, ensuring that a portion of all gold produced is set aside to back the Sira. By doing so, Burkina Faso guarantees that its currency remains strong and stable, Unlike the CFA franc, which can be manipulated by France, the Sira will be immune to foreign interference because its value will be directly tied to Burkina Faso's own gold reserves, strengthening its economic foundation. This strategy positions Burkina Faso as a financial powerhouse in West Africa, shifting the balance of power away from France. The implications are clear. France will no longer have access to Burkina Faso's wealth, and the Sira will stand as a symbol of true economic liberation, setting a precedent for other nations to follow. Burkina Faso's move is not just about its own economy. It is leading a regional revolution that could redefine West Africa's economic future. Other nations, particularly Mali and Niger, are closely following in Traoré's footsteps, seeking to reclaim their financial independence and break free from neo-colonial control. The three countries have already formed a new alliance, completely severing ties with the ECOWAS, which is largely controlled by France. With the Sira, Burkina Faso is challenging the CFA franc's stranglehold over West Africa. This creates a domino effect. If other nations join in, the entire region could break free from France's economic control, collapsing the CFA system altogether and redefining trade dynamics. For France, the consequences are devastating. The CFA franc allowed France to exploit Africa's wealth while keeping African economies weak and dependent. If the CFA system collapses, France will lose billions of dollars in economic leverage, affecting its own financial stability. This could even trigger a major economic crisis in France, as the country has long depended on African resources to sustain its economy and maintain its global influence. What President Traoré is doing is more than just changing a currency. He is dismantling a centuries-old system of exploitation. If the movement spreads, it could mark the end of French economic dominance in Africa, empowering African nations to finally control their own financial futures. The launch of the Sira is a defining moment in African history. Burkina Faso, under President Traoré's leadership, is destroying France's economic stronghold and paving the way for true financial sovereignty. By rejecting the CFA franc, Burkina Faso is taking back control of its wealth. By backing the Sira with gold, it is ensuring that its economy remains stable and protected from foreign manipulation. And by inspiring other nations to follow suit, it is setting the stage for a financial revolution in West Africa. Could this be the moment that ends France's economic grip on Africa once and for all? If Mali, Niger, and other nations fully embrace the movement, the CFA franc will collapse, and with it, France's ability to exploit African resources. This is history in the making. What do you think about Burkina Faso's move? Should other African nations do the same? Let us know in the comments. For more powerful insights on Africa's path to independence, subscribe to the African Web and turn on notifications. Stay informed, stay empowered, and together, let's build a stronger Africa.